I'd like to have the invocation by Reverend Key. Is he here? The invocation to be given by Reverend Key. Is he not here? Jean, would you fill in? Always handy.
The Reverend Anderson will take care of it. So, okay. May we pray. Heavenly Father, we're indeed thankful for the opportunity to serve our city. Father, we pray for our elected council members that you would guide and direct them, giving them wisdom, Father, on how to conduct the city business. Father, we thank you for the fact that the public can come to these meetings and participate and let their concerns be known. And Father, we just pray that everything might be worked out so that you're glorified and the city prospers. For these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, the Pledge of Allegiance be given by Sue Lancaster. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Citizen Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than that to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city council members or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. If necessary, the City Council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on this agenda. Do we have anybody wishing to speak?
Mayor Pro Tem, my name is Ken Higdon. I am with the Lamar County Chamber of Commerce, and we are on, my address is 3050 Oak Creek. Want to just quickly update you guys. Tomorrow we have some big going-ons in downtown. We'll be blocking off the street at Lamar in 2nd, Clarksville in 2nd, and basically all the downtown area, because we're going to be giving away some money to stimulate the economy around here. As you know, we've been running the Shop Local campaign for the last month and a half or 2 months. It has generated almost 400,000 tickets, maybe over that. And we are going to be giving away $10,000 tomorrow at $5,000 tomorrow at 7, and then shortly after that, $10,000 drawing. There'll be live entertainment on a stage at Houston and First Street, kind of by stone title. There'll be live performances at 2nd and Lamar, and also 2nd and Clarksville, along with the main stage downtown. So we're changing it up. That's why I want to just visit with you real quickly, let you know about those changes. A lot of entertainment, a lot of things to do. All the restaurants will be open, and we'll have multiple food trucks as well. So we hope you'll come down and be a part of that. We're trying to make it as a great experience as we can. And we urge everybody to shop local and support our local economy. Thank you.
Sounds like an event that we all need to attend. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak?
Is this supposed for a public hearing or like
It's just a general, not particularly like Crook. You wish to wait till that? Okay, all right. We move on to the consent agenda. Is there anything that anyone wants to pull out? Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
Make a motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We will move on to the regular agenda. And the first item, number 23, is to conduct a public hearing, discuss, and act on an ordinance considering the petition of Wayne Brown, for a change in zoning from a multifamily dwelling district number 2, MF2, to a commercial district C with a specific use permit, 55 self-storage mini warehouse on Lot 1, City Block 258-A, located at 2185 and 2193 East Cherry Street. Someone wish to speak on that?
My name is Wayne Brown at 3305 Darnell. I'm here to ask for the change in zoning. We've owned this property for about 2 years now, and the back building we turned into apartments. We have 20 apartments there. The next building is really not compatible for apartments, so we thought that the highest and best use would be self-storage, climatized self-storage for that area. Since we've owned the property, we've tripled the property value, and our taxes reflect that. If we go into a self-storage units, we'll also have sales tax. The highest and best use, we feel like that, and I have here 23 signatures of people in the neighborhood that would like to see the zoning changed.
Okay.
I'm here to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions they wish to ask Mr. Brown?
No, of staff, but not of Mr. Brown at this time.
Oh, well, staff.
Okay. Well, John, you want to catch, I don't see Alan, so
Yeah.
this went through planning and zoning.
Correct.
Right, we did.
Alan's initial recommendation, as we talked about to P&Z last Monday, was that it be denied because this is not really normally a commercial area. But as we discussed, and it was unanimously approved to recommend this, and I recommend it to you this evening, because of the nature of what's already there and because of what else is going on. We think this is an improvement. We agree with what Mr. Brown's saying, that this will be an enhancement for that particular area, so we do recommend approval, just as P&Z did by a 7-0 vote.
And they recommended that with conditions.
With conditions concerning lighting, landscaping, and a fence.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
That's
you're
fine.
willing to do those things?
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak against? Would like to take a vote on that?
I'll make a motion that we approve as presented.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, we'll move to 24. Conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance considering the petition of the City of Paris for a change in zoning for a Lake Crook Planned Development District, LCPDD, Subzone 1, the resort area to be an agricultural district, A, on which property is commonly known as Lake Crook, comprised of 3,000 plus acres of land, in addition to 1,000 plus acres of lake area. Is there anyone, I'll open this public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for?
My name is Jackie Alsobrook. I live at 4135 Misty Lane, Paris. I very strongly hope you will do as Dr. Hashmi suggested and save this historic property. This belongs to the City of Paris since 1928, the entire 3,000 acres. I heard discussion at the planning and zoning of, well, people will build some expensive houses. This should be developed some, but I believe that the people of Paris do not want the property sold. And I think if we wanted another real high dollar homes, we'd move to Plano. I think 95% of the people could not afford a home there, and I'd hate to see all the trees cut. I hope the city will remove this, or at least bring it to a vote of the people. I think I voted erroneously for it, believing it would develop Lake Crook as a park, but I hope that you will reconsider and zone it park. Thank you. Do I need to sign this?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
there anyone else who wishes to speak for? Okay.
Yes, I'm Kyle McCarley. I live at 2375 Wildwood Lane here in Paris. My family owns Paris Lumber and Building Center, and we've been a part of developing Paris for many, many years. We appreciate the council letting me come speak. I'm speaking for the keeping Lake Crook as a park. Mr. Crook brought Lake Crook, the idea of Lake Crook as a municipal water supply to Paris years ago. It was also planned as a park. It would be a lovely park in Paris, lovely park for people to enjoy, like some of the parks over in Dallas, as Dallas will initially, one of these days, grow out this way on into Oklahoma. Paris will just be another part of Dallas, like Highland Park or any of the other places. We'll have this park here. They'll remember the day the city fathers kept the park. Now, there's development around, plenty of development, plenty of houses built. We know because we sell the lumber to these houses. The developments will find their way here, they'll find their way there. But the park, Lake Crook, has been there for water sports, it's been there for fishing, for hunting, and it will develop as the city develops around it. There won't be any more hunting, but the little kids can float their boats, you can have soccer games around it. The development should be on a street across from the park. Lake Crook, there's, why put in exclusive home sites with private houses on our valuable piece of property that our city fathers have kept for us? So I would like to follow Ms. Osselbrook and ask for this to come before the city as a vote. Does the city really want to give their park to just a few individuals? The money that would be raised for it would be good for the city, but it's going to patch not near everything we need. We see infrastructure's going now with the sewage, and they're doing curb and gutter here and there, and that's all good. But the money from the sale of Lake Crook is not going to go very far, and it's just going to be a temporary patch. So I would like you to consider another look at it and see if we can take it back to finishing the park, as we had a 5-part plan a few years ago, which only went 3 parts deep. We almost had it done. If we'd mow that property out there and paint those rails, we'd have a nice park. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for it? Anyone to speak against? Since this is a hearing, we are going to leave this open to the next meeting. I believe that's what we're doing, John?
Yes, ma'am. The council can leave the public hearing open until a date certain, specifically in this case, January the 11th. That way you don't need to specifically table it. You simply leave it open, which amounts to tabling it. If you actually table it, we need to re-advertise it and spend the money to do
Right.
that. So we'll just leave
So we're just-
our recommendation is to do that.
We're going to leave it open and save a little money.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We do probably need to vote on that to make sure we're covered.
Oh,
So,
okay, all right. A motion to leave that open? A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, motion is unanimous. We'll leave it open. Okay, I'm really anxious to hear this item. Receive an update from the retail coach about the company's activities for new retail development in Paris.
And this is Aaron Farmer. Aaron is from the Retail Coach, and he has given me a presentation on a drive that I can't get to work. So if you'll talk while I work.
Okay, perfect. Well, Council, it's good to be in front of you again. I think the last time I came was back in 2014. Wanted to give an update, kind of bring everyone up to speed on kind of where we're at in this project, who we're talking to, not necessarily who we're talking to, but generically who we're reaching out to. We were hired about 1.5 years ago to go out and recruit and really market on behalf of Paris. And want to talk to you today about kind of where we're at in that process. We just got back in November from a conference. We were out with some representatives from Paris, reaching out, trying to recruit retailers and restaurants. So I want to give you an update on where we're at in this process and kind of go from there. So, want to bring you up to speed. I know most of you have seen this information, but want to do a recap on some of the data just to bring you up to speed again, like I said, and refresh your memory on these. So, in order to go out and recruit retailers, restaurants, or developers, if I'm one of those, I want to know who is my customer, where are they coming from. So, our team spent a lot of time in Paris over the last year and a half doing different types of analysis. We did a license plate analysis. It's scary to think about, but we can go into any of your shopping centers and scan the license plates and actually find out the home addresses of where your customers are coming from or where your consumers are coming from. Like I said, it's scary to think about, but you can understand from a retailer or a developer's point of view, knowing who that customer is, it's going to help them make that decision. Yes, I should locate a store here. Yes, I should do a development here. So you can see up on the screen there is the primary retail trade area. The yellow area we defined there, that is who your primary core customer is. Those are the people that are shopping in Paris on a regular basis. In that yellow trade area, I've got some of the demographics, just a summary down at the bottom. There's roughly 71,000 in the retail trade area, that primary retail trade area. That's a large number. If I'm a site selector, I'm going to use Chili's for example. The reason why Chili's is here, they require about 50,000 in a retail trade area. Okay, so they're looking for 50,000 core customers in a trade area before they'll locate in a community. You're at 71,000. I've included on the bottom there the incomes. Your average household incomes are about 55,000. Not the highest incomes, but not the lowest incomes. Those are things retailers are looking for. You can see in the bottom right corner of the page as well, your median age is about 40.8, and your average age is also about 40. So each of these retailers, each of these restaurants, these developers we're going after, they have what we call a customer profile. In order for us to locate in a community, there has to be so many people living there. There has to be this amount of growth. There has to be these certain demographics. So we've developed literally hundreds of pages worth of demographic analysis that I'm not going to go over tonight, but that's just an overview. And John, if you'll flip to that second slide for me. Once we had determined the primary trade area, remember those are the core customers, those people that are shopping here on a regular basis. We really wanted to understand who is maybe that secondary customer. Maybe, we talked today about, instead of calling this a secondary trade area, calling it just your retail trade area. In this retail trade area, we found about 143,000. You can see it extends well into Oklahoma. People coming from a long distance to shop, to eat here. Population's up to about 143,000, a little over 143,000. Your incomes dropped a tad bit, and that's to be expected, especially as you get out into some of the rural areas that are in the trade area. So about 52,879 is the average household income. And then your age stayed about the same, right at about 40. So not the youngest population, but also not the oldest population. So once again, hundreds of pages of demographics. This is the kind of information, if I'm a retailer, I'm a developer, this is the kind of information I'm looking for if I'm going to decide to locate a store here. I will tell you, since we started this process a little over a year ago, the first thing we ran into in reaching out to retailers and developers, a lot of these site selectors, if they weren't from the region, they had heard of Paris before, but they didn't know where you were in the state. There were some, but most of them did not. So the first part of this process, a lot of this process has been awareness, making the retail site selectors aware of Paris, where you're located. The next thing we heard was, well, okay, we like the trade area, we like how large the trade area is, where are you going to put us? So our focus since then has really been focused on looking at sites, what sites are available. And at the end of the day, what we are trying to do is we're trying to speed up a site selector, a retailer, their decision-making process. Maybe they've identified this area, hey, we're going to be here in 3 to 4 years, but if we can speed that up, hey, we're going to look here, we're going to be here in about a year or 2 years, that's the goal of this process. So the primary and secondary trade areas, those are key. That's the basis for this entire project. That's what retailers are interested in seeing. Once we had determined the primary and the secondary trade area, we wanted to look at what's called a leakage analysis. We also call it a gap analysis. You might have heard, you probably remember me referring to this, but this is how much money is leaving Paris on a yearly basis and going to shop other places. Is it going to Sherman? Is it going to the Dallas-Fort Worth area? Is it going, where else it's going? So what we've done is we've looked at about 88 different retail sectors. Everything from sporting goods stores to casual sit-down restaurants fit into this category. John, I'm going to have you flip to that next slide if you don't mind. Just to give you an example, some of the categories I wanted to point out on here, if you look towards the bottom of this page, you'll see where it says clothing stores. And there's about a $37.9 million leakage in clothing that's going to shop other places. Now, when my team, during the multiple trips we've been here, we would walk around downtown, we would ask people, we'd go into stores, we'd quiz people, what do you leave town for the most often? You can probably believe number one response I got, or what would you like to see more of in the community? Number one was national brand casual sit-down restaurants. Number two was other clothing opportunities or other clothing stores. Heard a lot about, kids and, some of the college students, teenagers wanting specific brand name items that they couldn't find here in Paris. So it makes sense if you look at clothing stores, like I said, about a $38 million leakage. And then also a couple other categories that stood out. Sporting goods stores was one that stood out towards the top of this page. About $16 million in leakage in sporting goods stores. And then the last one down at the bottom of the page I'll point out is full service restaurants. Full service restaurants, that's your waiter service. That's that casual sit down dining experience I was talking about. $82 million leaves this community on a yearly basis and goes other places. Now, are we going to capture all of that? No, and I don't think that's the goal to capture all of it. But if we can reduce that leakage by 10 to 20% over the next 2 to 3 years, that's a lot of sales tax dollars coming back to the city. That's a lot of new businesses in town. So this is the gap analysis. We looked at potential sales versus actual sales, and that gave us a total. The difference between the two gave us a leakage. Don't look at that necessarily as a leakage, but let's look at it as an opportunity. And I will tell you, in reaching out to retailers, reaching out to restaurants, developers, what's really got the retailers and developers we have on the hook, what's really got them there is this leakage. This has really got their attention. So wanted to run the gap analysis or leakage analysis by you. Any questions on that portion of it before we get there?
Go back one more page.
Sure.
On the grocery stores, are you saying that $138 million of routine groceries are purchased outside of Paris and only $192 million are purchased in Paris?
That's an interesting category there. Part of Walmart's grocery sales are reported in general merchandise stores, so we have to combine the two of those. So it's actually closer to about a $50 million leakage in groceries, not 138. So when we're packaging this information, giving it to potential retailers, potential developers, we're combining the.
And how do you know what groceries are purchased outside of Paris by people living in Paris? I don't understand how you'll calculate
Sure.
that.
So the second column you'll see on the screen there, that's the potential column. So what we do is we take a state average. We look at what does the average Texan spend in each of these categories. And then we look at what is the average per capita income for a Texan. Then we adjust that number for each of these categories based on what your incomes are here in the community. So we determine a potential sales number. What is that opportunity for each of these sectors? And then the next column over, you'll see up there is the actual sales number. And we get that information from the sales comptroller at the state of Texas. So it's based off of averages. The potential is.
My problem is you're $138 million in groceries, and you tell me it's actually 50.
Sure.
That's off by a factor of what? It's off 60%.
Yeah,
I don't know these other numbers. Are they equally suspect?
Yeah.
I mean, this is generated from what state data that you get.
Right.
So anybody has access to this state data, right?
Correct. John, if you'll flip one more over real quick. What I was referencing here, it's actually, if you'll see here where it says general merchandise stores, about halfway down the page on here, that's where your Walmart reports.
Okay.
And you've got a very successful Walmart. Walmart does not report their grocery sales different than they do their general merchandise sales. So we have to go in and we have to basically pull out the grocery number, which I don't have it right in front of me here, but I know what that grocery sales is. So if we take that, it's not 50 million, it's about 70 to 80 million is what it is. So for groceries.
And you mentioned you have the sit-down restaurants, but the fast food restaurants you don't have there. I assume there is no leakage in the fast food restaurants.
There actually is. It's under there. It's limited service eating places. So you'll see full service, which is your casual sit-down establishments, and then you'll see underneath that, do you see where it says limited service right there?
Okay, so that's McDonald's, Walmart, I mean, that's fast food?
That's fast food.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the difference. Casual sit downs would be full service restaurants, and then limited service restaurants is fast food.
Okay.
And I will tell you, this is what, at the end of the day, over everything we do, what gets a retailer interested, a developer interested, is seeing that gap and that leakage. What that does is tells them, hey, there is opportunity. You'll notice there are some categories where there's not, but maybe $1 million in sales or $750,000 in potential sales and opportunity. So being able to show this information to a retailer or developer is what gets them interested.
And one other question, I'll leave you alone, I promise. Retailers don't pick just because they can make a profit, because they have limited resources. They want to know where can they make the most profit.
Absolutely.
So do you give the retailers any information about why they should pick Paris instead of 25, 30 other places in the state that might possibly be more or less successful?
Sure. So at the end of the day, you're exactly right. If I'm a retailer, and I was in site selection before the retail coach, what I care about is I can make money. And I want to go, typically what happens is a retailer will say, we're going to open 10 stores in the state of Texas over the next 2 to 3 years. So our goal and what we do is, and I don't have it all as part of this presentation, but we develop packages for them, specific marketing packages to convince, XYZ retailer they need to be here. So we're showing them
that Paris is better than the other places in the state where they might also consider. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, we don't look at every single location in the state of Texas, but we show them that based off of sales here, they're going to, benchmark to other locations, they're going to be successful. So we don't look at, every city in the state of Texas, but we focus on, similar sized communities. Here's why you need to locate here. Here's, per capita retail sales, the information a retailer wants to see. The one thing we do that is very unique to us and what I think has worked well in this process is these marketing packages that we develop. They're retailer specific. So they have the retailer's logo on there. If we're going after a casual sit-down restaurant, that package is only going to include the information that specific restaurant is going to want to see. We take out the fluff and get down to the numbers. And that's what gets you in front of these retailers. I see a lot of communities that make the mistake. They'll send over a 100-page packet of information, and that's going in the trash. So what we do is, ours are slimmed down to 15 or 20 pages, just focused on what that specific retailer is looking for to make that decision. So that was the gap analysis. One thing also I wanted to talk about here is the psychographic profile we've developed. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's pretty neat. For those of you that weren't present for my presentation, psychographics, the best way I've ever heard it described is, we all know what demographics are, age, income, those sort of things. Best way I've heard psychographics described is demographics on steroids. So it takes demographics to the next level. So instead of looking at me based off of my age and my income, it looks at me based off of my habits. Where do I shop at? Where do I eat at? What items do I buy? Those sort of things. So what we have done is we have run an analysis, a psychographic analysis on the entire region. You can see the trade area outlined up there. Each of these different color-coded areas represent a different psychographic segment. So all of us in this room are broken into one of these psychographic segments. Basically, it lumps us all into similar categories. And it tells us, John, if you'll flip to the next slide for me, if you don't mind. It tells us, and I've broken down here some of the psychographic segments: small town simplicity, rooted rural, salt of the earth. They all have names tied to them, these segments. Green acres, old and newcomers. They make up about the top 51%. But I will tell you what was interesting is I can't remember, and I've been doing this for a good while, I can't remember a community that had this many segments that made up the entire retail trade area. I've seen a few that maybe had 10 segments. You have, roughly 20 segments that make up that 100%. So what we have done, we use this information to take it to retailers to say, look, small town simplicity makes up about 14% of the retail trade area. Well, there's certain retailers that do well in that psychographic segment. So they're interested in coming to the community. But what we talked about today in some of the one of the meetings I had today was using this information to get it out to the local businesses, to get it out to the existing businesses. For each of these categories here, we have developed a full profile that shows for each of these categories who the people are, a demographic profile of them. But then it tells us what items did they buy, you know, what specific brands did they buy, what stores did they shop at, what franchises did they go to. So we talked about having a seminar with the existing businesses here to explain to them how to capture this customer, how to market, how to do marketing to this customer. You know, we've got information on what works well. You know, some of these categories focus on internet marketing. Some of them are focused on maybe it's postcard marketing and that sort of thing. So I wanted just to really skim the surface of this psychographic analysis, but to let you know, this is something that we'll be rolling out to the existing businesses as well in the coming months. We're talking about maybe March, having a meeting to get this information out to the existing businesses. If we can help an existing business expand, that's just as good, really better than bringing somebody else in. So wanted to kind of touch on that just real quick, the psychographic profile. I'm sure y'all have a link to all of our reports, and if you really get a chance to kind of dig into that psychographic profile, some really neat information. It's the reason why the Walmart here in Paris carries different items than Walmart, say, in Sherman, is they're focused on the psychographics. You know, they carry different items, and Walmart, some of your grocery stores, other restaurants, they're really using psychographics strongly in what they do in catering their stores and those kind of things. So just wanted to really touch base on that really quick. So if you hear that phrase come up, you knew a little bit about what that is. Also, what we've been working on is there could be a site selector right now driving the streets. We do know that there was a retailer here a couple of weeks ago and a developer here a couple of weeks ago looking for sites and those sort of things. If I'm a site selector, the first place I'm going is I'm going to go check out the city's website. Then maybe I'll check out the EDC website, and then I'll check out the chamber website. Well, knowing that, we have developed a retail website for you, and we use this on a regular basis. You can just kind of see a screenshot up there. But first off, we show them where Paris is. Like I said, that was one of the biggest hurdles we've had to overcome is most of the retailers that we reached out to had maybe heard of Paris, but did not know where you were, did not know enough about it. So this retail website that we've developed has all of that retail information on it. It has the reports on there. It has the down at the bottom, it has John and mine and Ken's contact information on there. There's a contact form. So if a retailer or developer comes to this site, they fill out that contact form, it comes to the three of us. So what we're trying to do at the end of the day is make it as easy as possible for somebody to locate in the community. And I feel like we put the team together to do that. So I wanted to just mention that to you, the Paris website. We are in the process of getting that loaded to the chamber and the city website as well. Next slide. We have developed an interactive mapping application. And really neat tool. It's a standalone application for an iPad or a computer, whatever kind of tablet you have. Really neat. All of the demographics, all of the reports that we've gone over today, we've worked with our data provider, one of our data providers, to actually map this information. So I can click anywhere on the map, or I can click on different layers. I can pull up incomes. I can pull up the demographics. There's an area at the top where it says find address. We can zoom to a specific site. So if John, Ken, and I are meeting with a retailer in front of the location, we can pull out our iPads. We can click on that specific location. We can pull up the demographics around it. There's all kinds of different maps, topographic maps, imagery maps, satellite maps that we have on here. So we use this on a regular basis. We attended the ICSE, International Council of Shopping Centers Convention out there marketing Paris. We use this map on a regular basis. So that's also included on that website we developed. It's embedded there, and it's going to be added to both of the city and chamber websites as well. And then lastly, just wanted to kind of talk to you about ongoing recruitment, what we are going to be doing over the next 6 months. To date, we have reached out to 40 retailers are on our current contacting list. We're reaching out to them on a regular basis. We're currently expanding that list. We're expanding into an additional 20 retailers and restaurants. Learned this a long time ago, but it's just like sales. The more you reach out to, the better chance you have of landing one of them. So we're expanding the list an additional 20 retailers. We've reached out to over 50 developers throughout the state of Texas, throughout the region. To come check us out, come take a look. We've had 2 developers make visits. We're currently working on a development that I know I don't want to talk too much about it today, since we're in a public meeting where it's going to be a pretty significant development. Waiting for that developer to pull the trigger on everything. We also have another developer that's planning a site visit. We've met with them twice now outside of the community, planning a site visit in the coming future. We've got a couple of casual sit-down restaurants that are interested. We've got a couple of clothing retailers that have showed interest. We've got a haircut place, national brand haircut place that has interest, and we've got a couple of fast food restaurants that have interest. And now it's just closing the deals, getting them here. The first question we get asked is, yes, we want to be in Paris. Paris has been approved corporate for a site, but where are you going to put us? So finding sites is the key. Several of these retailers that we've talked to actually want to be part of a new development. They want to be part of a new development. So the reason we're doing retailer recruitment and developer recruitment at the same time is so that when we get those retailers interested, we can hand them over to an interested developer and kind of marry the two, make that happen. So, like I said, outreach is going to continue. We're doing one more round of contacting before the holiday, and then we will start back again first week of January with our next round of contacting. That'll be when the new 20 retailers get contacted as well. So we will continue that recruitment, just like I mentioned. All of the data that we've gone over today, and like I said, just skim the surface on that, has been 2015 data. The new 2016 data for all of these reports will be coming out in the next month or so. So as soon as that data comes out, we want to make sure and get that in front of all retailers and developers. That's the key, keeping fresh data in front of them. And then the next conference, next chance we're going to have to really get out in front of national retailers, restaurants, and developers is the ICSC, so it's International Council of Shopping Centers Recon Conference. That's actually in Las Vegas. It's the largest retail real estate conference in the world. Happens in Las Vegas, has for 50 years, or however long it's been. We have a large booth out there. Paris, we are representing Paris out there, setting up meetings, marketing you through different ways that we do that at the conference. And I think that's it. But just wanted to kind of bring you up to speed on what we've been working on. There are several different things we're working on here now that hopefully we can announce in the coming months. We're pretty excited about it, but just wanted to make sure and kind of make sure everybody was up to speed on what we're doing.
Sounds very encouraging.
Great.
Would anyone like to ask any questions? Mr. Pickle?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Firestone?
I've got a couple questions. Can you just kind of define the new development for me as far as retailers are concerned? Are they talking brand new spec they get to build out, or is it like 0 to 5 years? Because we do have some spots that are in that 0 to 5, whether it's around here at Tejas Plaza or the spot out across from Walmart. What defines that?
Basically, this developer is wanting to make sure they have retailers in place ready to go before they start developing that project. So I think we're probably looking at 2 years at a minimum to get that going. I mean, we'll be able to make some announcements sooner than that. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand the new developers and
Sure.
anchor stores and all that good stuff. I was just talking about existing retailers that could come in quicker.
Yeah,
When you say they're looking for new space, what defines new to them?
Yeah, so a lot of the retailers that we've talked to, especially some of those junior box clothing stores, they don't necessarily want to go by themselves. They don't want to just go into a lease, an open lease space. They're looking for some of those. These retailers like to cluster. That's why you see, a lot of the same clothing stores in the same developments in different communities. So trying to build around that clustering effect, trying to get some of the same types of retailers interested in there. We've got quite a few interested. It's just a matter of getting that development going. I heard I was speaking at an economic development conference last week and got to listen to an economist talk about the retail industry. And the economist said that he thinks the next 2 to 3 years are going to be good for retail. But after that 2 to 3 years, it's kind of an unknown right now. It could be good, could be bad, we don't know. So what our goal is, we want to get these developments started immediately, ground broken, as quick as possible, so that we're in that 2 to 3 year time frame.
Okay. And just, it's not really a question, but just a statement, as much as I appreciate you guys taking taking Paris on the road, whether it's Dallas or Las Vegas. So I think that's always good, the broader the exposure, instead of us trying to reinvent the wheel here, use the mechanisms that are in place. So
Yes, sir.
thanks.
We, and I'll just kind of echo that real quick. We are going to be attending 10 ICSC conferences next year. We're going to be in Atlanta at the Southeast Conference. We'll be in, obviously, Texas, Las Vegas, San Diego, Chicago, and about 5 others. And I think that's key. I think awareness is the biggest thing with Paris, is making those that are outside of the region aware of where you're at. Because once they take a look at that trade area, 140 something thousand, that gets their attention, and that gets them really looking at it. So absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Clifford? Okay.
No questions.
No questions? Well, we appreciate all your hard work, and we're
Absolutely.
looking forward to some announcements.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we're thankful for continuing to work with you, and we'll keep John and Ken up to speed on where we're at, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks.
Next item, discuss and approve a contract with Oscar Renda in the amount of $23,348,350 for Package 4 of the 2013 Bond Fund Water and Sanitary Sewer Replacement Project. Is there someone here to speak?
I will. Very quickly, we did receive 4 qualified bids. 2 of those were significantly above our estimate, but 2 we were fortunate that were below our estimate. Our estimate was about $25 million. And the reason we have alternate bids here was we were hoping that our bids would be low enough that we would have money left over to do more road work once the utility work was complete. And so we bid it 3 ways, basically just repairing the holes like we did on the last phase, doing a real light road repair, and then doing not a full road repair reconstruction, but a better road repair. And in this case, we do have sufficient funds, and we're recommending those alternates that would do the more road work as opposed to not much or none at all. That still is below the estimated amount, and that's why Oscar Renda is our low bidder, and that is who staff and all of our engineering consultants unanimously agreed to recommend for your approval tonight.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Pickle?
Yes, ma'am. Prior to this, we've spent how much of the bond money
So far,
so far?
about 8.
8, okay. Does any of this include the Johnson Woods?
No, sir. The 2 pieces that are not yet either under construction or in this bid are Johnson Woods and the Southeast Lift Station improvements. Those are the 2 projects that are remaining.
And when will those be?
We hope by the end of by the end of 2016. Those are, we've been waiting for this to get out, and then they'll complete design on those 2 projects.
Okay. So we've spent 8 roughly, and this is roughly 23, so that's 31. That leaves about 12.
Well, and remember, we have engineering that's quite a lot, engineering, and then at some point we'll have inspection cost as well.
Well, that's my question. That's
Right.
where I'm coming from. What is the estimate, for the inspections on something like this? How much do you think we're looking at? How much is that gonna hit us?
Well, it depends on how we do it. If you'll recall, the estimate that we had, or the negotiated price we had with Lochner was 1.3 million, and that included ongoing phases as well as future phases. And so I presume we'll spend a good bit less than that at this point.
Okay. But that'll come out of the 45 million.
Correct. And recall too, we have another engineering contract out there that we don't talk about a lot because we've kind of been going slow on it. And that's to do some utility work out. We call it the airport utility project, although it's not going to go to the airport for years and years. But the biggest part of that is putting sewer into Paradise Estates. Those folks have been in the city limits for quite a long time. And besides providing service to them, it also allows us to take 3 lift stations out of service.
Right.
So over time, it'll save us a lot of operating and maintenance cost. We hope to bid that out in the spring, by the way, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Frierson, any questions?
Okay. John, walk me through kind of the phases of where this project encompasses.
It's mostly the eastern half of town and downtown. The biggest parts of it are going to be downtown, plus or minus 3 blocks around the plaza. So that will be a significant project. There's work on Clarksville and Lamar. It will be essentially an entire reconstruction of Pine Bluff from Main Street to 20th. And that includes almost a brand new road and a new sidewalk, because that road will be so dug up, we'll have to just rebuild it rather than just patch it. There won't be enough left to patch.
Which road would that be? I'm sorry.
Pine Bluff.
Pine Bluff, okay.
There's also work on Graham, significant work along Graham, not to damage the new sidewalk. And then there's just a few other scattered projects here and there, but those are the main ones: Lamar, downtown, Pine Bluff, and Graham, and Clarksville.
Okay. And because it is such a significant piece of the puzzle for the entire bond package, can you tell me a little bit about the contractor that you guys are recommending, history, references, things like that?
Right. Oscar Renda is a very large firm out of Roanoke. Roanoke's up close to Denton, for those of you that aren't familiar with that area. The contractor, the AECom, our consulting engineer, checked their references. We also had a concern that was expressed that you passed along to me last week. We followed up on that. And the concern was much more minor than what it was conveyed to us, so we're satisfied that that's okay. Other references checked out well, and we would assume and expect, to have no reason otherwise to expect that they'll be able to do the project in a timely manner. While I'm talking about too, and I mentioned on here because it's important, this is a 3 to 4 year project, so it's going to be around a long time. So if it lasts 3.5 years, I don't want people to be surprised, because it really will take that long. Part of that is a matter of phasing, and specifically, we put in the bid documents phasing so that certain roads can't be closed simultaneously. Like they can't close Pine Bluff and Lamar and Clarksville all at the same time. So they could do it faster if they just tore the whole place up, but just because of traffic concerns, it's just not practical. We want them to go as reasonably fast as they can, but there are things we had to tell them, don't do these 2 roads at the same time. They may work 2 crews at sometimes, they may work 4 or 5 at one sometimes. That's kind of up to them as long as they follow those specific guidelines. They say they can do it in 3 years, and we hope that's the case, but it wouldn't be at all surprising if it goes a little longer than that for 2 reasons. One is weather is always unpredictable, especially this year. We've had flooding and droughts in the same year. And then the other issue that can delay us a lot is we have so many, kind of the reason we're doing this, so many old lines under the ground that we don't know exactly where they are, especially in downtown. And we're concerned that once we start digging up downtown, who knows what we may find. And that's one of the reasons we were concerned, main reason we were concerned that our bids might be higher than the original estimate, because contractors like to protect themselves from that sort of thing. But again, we're still really pleased. We got 2 good bids, 2 low bids, not just one. If you only get one, it kind of scares you, but having 2, in fact, they're really, I think, $19,000 apart, which is a really good sign for us. We're really pleased and ready to get started. Construction will probably be February, early March where it actually gets going. So it's not going to happen right away either. We still have to do the contract docs and have the pre-construction meetings and so forth, and they'll have to phase up and order their products and so forth. But hopefully we'll actually be under construction fairly quickly.
And with that, I realize we're talking about the bid tonight, so I don't want to get too far off topic. But in those pre-construction meetings, I assume that's where you'll start talking about fire and police and thoroughfares, school buses, things like that.
And a lot of that, there's a traffic plan. Those kinds of things are part of the bid document, so they know ahead of time what we're going to expect of them. But yes, we'll be more specific. They'll tell us we want to start on this street first, and we'll say yes or no, and we'll work through that.
Okay. And just one last shameless plug from the most recent construction on Church Street. I would ask that that residents, merchants, whether it be downtown or Pine Bluff, that they be kept in the loop, whether it's mail out notifications, things like that, so they'll know what to expect. Because I know personally, I got lots of questions, and you got lots of phone calls because of that.
Absolutely.
So, and that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any questions, Dr. Clifford? Mr. Jenkins? Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
appreciate
We're
it.
looking forward to this.
We
Finally.
are. I know that Pine Bluff really Okay, moving on.
We need our motions.
Oh, we need the motion, sorry. I'm looking at this executive session, look planning ahead. Okay, I need a motion to accept that contract. Any, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Now, we need to convene into executive session.
What about?
I'm sorry.
next,
I
number
got one more
27?
piece of money we need to spend.
Oh. I'm sorry, getting ahead of it. Okay, discuss and approve a contract with Richard Drake. Construction in the amount of $235,797,000. Whoops. I was gonna make it much bigger than that, wasn't I?
It'll be real nice when it's done.
Oh, he would really be happy, wouldn't he? Let's back up on that one. $235,797.92.
This was a project we only received one bid on. You always hate to do that, but the bid is right at our estimate. It is obviously a known contractor who's worked on the trail, and in fact is working on the trail right now. It is, for a lot of people who kind of forgot about this project, we haven't talked about it a whole lot, but it's to actually make the trail to Paris longer. It's an extension going from 8th Street Southwest, where it ends now, all the way over to 4th Street Southwest, just past the jail. So we look forward to getting that started. Hopefully start construction in January. We need to have it finished by the end of June. So hopefully next July, people will be using that additional piece of trail.
This might be a little bit off, but what do you plan for that past 4th Street? Anything?
Long-term, we hope to take, the long-term plan is to take the trail all the way to the southeast corner of the, southwest corner, I'm sorry, of the city, down close to the loop. So that's the long-term goal. As grants become available, of course, this is a TPWD grant, Texas Parks and Wildlife. Texas Parks and Wildlife grants are 80%, so we're paying 20%, and the state's paying the other 80% on this, and that's what we hope to keep plugging along a little at a time.
But it's looking good.
Coming along.
Good. All right, any discussion on this? Mr. Pickle?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Ryerson?
No thanks.
All right, we're ready to take a vote on it. All those in favor? Or make a
I'll
motion?
make a motion.
I'll second.
And we'll second.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor? And we're unanimous. All right, now we can get to this executive session. Convene into executive session pursuant to Section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code, 1, to discuss or deliberate regarding commercial or financial information that the governmental body has received from a business prospect that the governmental body seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the territory of the governmental body, and with which the governmental body is conducting economic development negotiations, or 2, to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect described by subdivision 1 as follows: J.S. Baking, LLC, Skinner Baking. So we will now convene into...
Ms. Lancaster, will you take the time, please?
Oh, it is... What time is it? It's 6:23. I can't see that. Okay, so...
the reason those lights are on, we're gonna meet down the hall where there's a video screen. Mr. Bushhouse
Oh,
is here
okay.
from Skinner, so.
So we will now go into executive session. Convening the city council. We're in open session and no action was taken. So we'll move on to 30.
Wait, where are we? Oh,
30.
never mind.
Consider and approve future events for city council and or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081. Anything?
Just what Ken said about tomorrow night's chocolate.
Oh, yes.
And leave your iPads.
Yes.
Oh, and leave your iPad. All right. Well, 31.
So moved. Second.